here's the setup of the wet table. Remove the table, remove the pump and reservoir. With the cord coming out, slide the reservoir on top and into the holding fixture. Remove the holding fixtures, aorta holding fixture, the armrest, power supply, and iliac and abdominal aorta holding fixture. Puzzle piece them together. There's a soft urethane on the bottom of these holding fixtures that make it high friction so it won't slide around. So if you want it moved, you need to lift up and move it to the right location. At this point, it's probably best to move to the camera setup once you have the wet table up and set up. Monitor out. And the arm that holds the camera. So screw on the arm to the base. It's best to get the wires kind of wound up around the arm before you start screwing it on. So once the arm is on and you've unwound the cords so that they're just nice and straight, grab the camera and carefully screw that onto the end of the arm. You want it to be fairly tight, grabbing the base and squeezing it. And then power and cable. Okay. Now grab all the other cables out of the camera case. There's power for the camera and power for the monitor. Now plugging in the power for the camera and for the monitor. Both of these cables are the same for power in. Plugging them in. The power for the monitor just plugs in to the DC on one end, and then the B and C cable coming from the camera goes into the inside of the monitor. Now that the camera system's set up and plugged in, remove the cap and put it in a safe spot. And you can continue putting the model together. Grabbing the radial holding fixture along with the 3 arms that will hold it up. The one that has the biggest angle on it will be the one that's closest to the subclavian. The urethane stretches and will lock in. The straightest one is in the middle, and where it has 2 is at the end. The fixture then snaps in. You can slide to where it locks into place. Next, here's the undermount hose that you can pull out and click in here and push underneath and up through. Next best thing you pull out would be the thermostat and controller for the heater. Just setting it at the distal end. Taking the thermocouple cord and pushing it through, again, that slot for the cord, and pushing it down into that slot and into the inlet of the pump. And then sliding it back in, And again, making sure that that thermocouple is always immersed. So once the wet table is set up, remove the model and pull it out of the bag. The bag is there just in case it leaks a little bit. Lay it down in the fixture. The reason the model can be held fluid while it's in the case is because of these valved quick disconnects. They don't allow fluid to come out until the other end of the disconnect is added onto it. So they just snap in. Make sure that they're draining into the reservoir. And this is the distal end of the coronaries. Remove this plug and make sure that is draining into the reservoir. And the inlet that comes up through the wet table connect into the inlet of the heart. So adding the lubricious material to the reservoir, you fill the reservoir and then turn the pump on. At this point you want to make sure that everything is connected and that the flow will actually flow from the pump into the heart model and out. And you can actually see it already coming out of the distal end. So now at this point, once the reservoir is full and fluid is pumping through, you want to go ahead and turn the heater on. You want to make sure the heater coil coming from the reservoir is plugged into the controller, and then the thermostat or the thermocouple is in and submerged into the fluid. Again, into the inlet of the pump is the best place.